Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's video is dedicated to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, with special thanks to Nine Knives, Revenant, Alois, Anerdinwarpaint, Dragon Matrix 7, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, Kazorm, Lima, Nathan Welch Jr., Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started. And welcome back to Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, as we tie up some loose ends and finish setting the stage for Act 2. Fair warning, this is going to be another chatty episode. We've got a fair number of folks we have to talk to. I mean, to be fair, there's always going to be more folks to talk to. That's just the sort of game this is. But once we get this batch done, we should be in a good position to start mixing action back in. That said, today we're starting things off with the Storyteller. We've got 2 quests to turn in with him, and as I said last time, he's about to leave. If we don't do this now, we won't get another chance for like 20 episodes. The old elf smiles when he hears your footsteps. Allow me to congratulate you on your victory, and on acquiring mythical powers capable of casting down the strongest of demons. Why, thank you. I always knew I had it in me. So, you're still here. Does that mean you're joining up with the Crusade? I have decided not to, I'm afraid. My path and the path of the Crusade leads in the same direction, but alas, they are not yet one and the same. After the demons were driven away from Canabris, the path into the Worldwound became open, if only temporarily. I'm planning on using this opportunity to visit... The elf falls silent. It doesn't matter now. I'd hate to bore you with the details of my venture, which may prove useless even for myself. However, I'll try to return to the Crusaders and aid them in their confrontation with the demons after I'm done. I hope to meet you again, in this world, rather than the next. Yes, that does sound slightly preferable to the alternative. Well, alright then. I'm sorry to see you go, Storyteller. You're an intriguing fellow. I really wish I'd had more time to learn more about you. The old elf permits himself a faint smile. I am not surprised. A strange, peculiar-looking elf with unusual powers who comes from afar, and calls himself a collector of stories. Such things usually spark some interest. Ask. I will answer your questions. Oh, alright. Who are you? Where are you from? Before, I would have said that I was a blacksmith from Keonan, who lost his sight, and then found his true calling in a new craft, that of a story collector. But I have lately begun to suspect that those words are no more than a lie. The old elf chuckles sadly. It's quite the irony. I never thought I'd have cause to complain about my memory. It holds the stories of the entire world, but I've noticed more and more alarming signs recently. I encounter ancient stories and see myself in them. I don't remember those events. But stories cannot lie. So it means that my memory is lying. And I intend to get to the bottom of it. I'm looking for proof that my visions are true. And for the reason why my past has been hidden from me. I mean, maybe you just forgot. You do look pretty ancient. No offense. I didn't even know elves could get that old. The blind man straightens his bony back with dignity. As you can see, we do, if we manage to live for many thousands of years. There may not be a single mortal in this world older than me. The storyteller sighs and continues with a sad smile. Anyways, it's not about time. It's about the stories I keep inside. There is so much suffering and sadness in this world. And in my stories, too. I've lived every one of them. I've drunk this bitter experience and accepted it in my heart. It's hard, the weight of all this suffering on my shoulders. But I wouldn't trade my burden for any other. So he doesn't actually know, but we can tap into his power, so, I mean, we must be linked in some way. So how exactly did you end up like this? The storyteller shrugs. I've always got along well with things. I used to be a blacksmith, that I know for sure. I've always felt the essence of things, their spirit. For as long as I can remember, I have always been able to feel the traces of memories and feelings left on the things by their former owners. I don't know where this gift comes from. Maybe, having taken my sight, the gods granted me another sense. I see. And how does it work exactly? How do you collect these stories? The same way a court philanderer collects his conquests. The way a healer has a personal cemetery of patients he failed to save. The way every person, including you, has a box of secret, most precious experiences deep down in their soul that no one is allowed to touch. The world is not made of things or matter, even. It's made of stories. They move from the past to the future, piercing our world at the point of here and now. They give meaning to everything. They are the meaning, and everything else is only the setting required for stories to exist. There is nothing more real and alive than a story, and anything real and alive can die or be destroyed, distorted, forgotten. But as long as I carry these stories with me, they will not be lost. Careful now, I feel like you're skirting awfully close to the fourth wall. This is why I don't often share my stories. By sharing one with you, I give you the right to tell it to others, to distort and embellish it, advertently or inadvertently. How can I be sure you will keep its original purity? Stories travel from one person to another. They change, become distorted, turn into tall tales. This is why I keep my stories to myself. I see. Well, thank you, Storyteller. I think that's all my questions. That's what you think. In fact, the world is full of amazing things, and you still have a lot of questions. They just haven't bubbled up to the surface of your consciousness yet. Fair enough. Oh, but speaking of questions, I've got those pages you wanted from the Great Garrison. The storyteller carefully takes the pages from your hands. His fingers touch the ancient letters gently, examining them lightly, following their lines. I see myself, young, energetic, able to see. Oh gods, have I found the key to my past? Finally, I will find out what my own mind has been hiding from me. The elf's expression becomes withdrawn. The wrinkles on his face soften. Thank you, Vex. And please follow me to my story. Let us embark on this journey together. The storyteller inhales sharply a few times and begins his story. They are leaving. The people of Kionan faced the coming Earthfall and admitted that they were incapable of handling this disaster. Proud rulers, artful crafters, brave warriors, wise mages, and skilled healers. All of them hurry to the gate to Severian, looking around fearfully. A clean, safe world is waiting for them there. My people decided not to fight for Golarion. I am ashamed, and I am sorry for them. Their hearts wavered in the face of the catastrophe. But my will is strong. I am staying. My kinfolk are looking at me angrily. How dare I diminish their decisions with my recklessness? My choice makes them cowards, traitors of their own home. One of them, my former mentor, looks at me bitterly. He hands me a neat notebook with a tree bark cover, in case you change your mind. With a heavy sigh, he returns to the line of those departing. Forgive me, brothers and sisters. I watch the gate of the Severian stone close, separating me from them. It's time for me to go, too. I open my master's notebook. These are his notes about traveling between worlds, in case you change your mind. He hopes the burden I shouldered voluntarily will be too much. I will lose heart and find my way to Soverian. That will never happen. My mouth set stubbornly. I tear my master's notebook to pieces. I use my forced pride as a shield against my fear of what is to come. Wow, so the entire elven race just abandoned Golarion rather than fight to save it? That is something. The storyteller's lips purse with disdain. They are afraid to lose what they have. They were rulers, long-lived and powerful. They valued their lives and sunshine too much to enter the fight with the aftermath of Earthfall. And your mentor was a mage, so you must be one too, right? Yes, I am an archmage, and this title is well deserved. I have acquired delicate mastery and succeeded in many areas of magic. But curiosity has always pushed me toward new knowledge since the first day of my apprenticeship. What about the Soverian stone you mentioned? What's the deal with that? A magnificent crystal bent into an arch by a mighty hand of an ancient divine creator. Our great gate to other worlds. It breathes power. It dreams of eternity. Sure, that sounds normal. And what was with you and the other elves? I spent hundreds of years in Keonan. I have always admired the way my kinfolk cared for the forest that was our home. But the rest of the world seemed to mean nothing to them. But I love Golarion, all its places, all the forms it manifests in. I traveled widely and then came home and told my kinfolk about my travels. But they weren't interested. They only cared about Keonan. Their lack of desire to hear about the wider world makes me sad and angry. Yeah, that's elves for you. So what happened next? Earthfall happened at night. I am standing at the top of my tower, many miles to the north of Keonan, and I see a blaze far in the south. I hear a horrendous rumble. The air is groaning, giving way to a huge rock, rushing down on my world. And then a blow. Vibration that penetrates everything, reaches down into the bowels of Golarion and up to the vaults of the sky. Crunching bones, blood from burst vessels, filling my eyes with darkness. Drowning in timelessness along with countless denizens of Golarion. Never before have we been so united in our feelings. When I come round, the darkness remains. My first terrible thought, I'm blind. But no, little by little I begin to see the stone wall. I am alive, but why is it so dark? The answer is quick. The smell of ash everywhere. The great burnt sacrifice filled the air with incinerated particles of what was recently the continent of Asland. Great clouds of ash covered the sky, cutting us off from the sun and the moon, dooming us to dusk at day and complete darkness at night. My heart sinks with fear. Treacherous thoughts fill my mind. Why did I stay? Why didn't I run like everyone else when I had the chance? I clench my teeth and stand up to watch Earthfall, proudly, like the last Archmage of Keonan should. Will my world really perish like this? Will I perish? No, that will never happen. I am still alive, and I can fight Earthfall and the darkness, not run from it in a blind panic like my kinfolk and my cowardly teacher. But what can I do? I will not stop the disaster. I will hardly be able to save empires from their destruction. What can I do? I am but one Archmage, powerful and weak at the same time. I've got to say, man, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this. What exactly was Earthfall? A disaster of untold proportions. An unborn planet dropped on Golarion by blind fate or someone's evil will. A blow so strong that the continent of Asland is destroyed within moments, turned to ash, wiped off the face of Golarion. In this burnt sacrifice, clouds of ash and dust are born, stealing our sun. Without the warmth of our star, the air cools, the soil is barren. Dark creatures crawl out of their lairs to rule. And the most frightening thing, without the sun, all hope dies in the heart. This is the Age of Darkness. And the tower you mentioned? It's my retreat to the north of Kionen, my home away from home, my observatory. From its top I watched the stars, and when they were correctly aligned, the other worlds as well. Here in the northern wasteland I found the highest mountain and built a tower on top of it. On clear days I could see the mist over the lake of mists and veils in the east. That's how high I was. Wow, so what could you possibly do? I don't know. I need to think. My opponent, Earthfall, is much stronger than me. Without noticing, the storyteller raises his voice to shout. It is merciless. It does not simply destroy life. It kills an era, ending the greatness of Galarian civilizations. They will sink into oblivion, be forgotten as if they never existed. I need to think. The elf suddenly winces and is silent for a few moments as he calms his heavy breathing. Forgive me, I shouldn't have raised my voice. This story was much harder than many before it. Most likely because I played the main role in it. It is so strange to see myself, feel the emotions tearing me up inside, those that I felt a long time ago, and not remember them. It's like I split. I became both the storyteller and the main character. Too bad the story ended at that moment. Please, if you find other pages covered with ancient elven writing on your travels, bring them to me. I might be able to shed some light on my past, and we will find out how my story ended, and perhaps even why I forgot it. I can do that. I will certainly keep an eye out, Storyteller. Thank you for your story. No, thank you for helping me remember it. My pleasure, Storyteller. Besides, that gives us a lot to mull over, and potentially sets up for future events. For example, notice that the tower he mentioned, his old tower, it wasn't in Kionen, it was somewhere north of Kionen, which could actually mean it's somewhere here in the Worldwound. Anyway, let's buckle up and move on. The elf cautiously uncorks the vials and begins to work his enchantments. The essence evaporates, turning into light that streams onto the buckle. The light thickens, becoming gold. The Covenant of the Inheritor. That is the name of this relic. This buckle once adorned the belt of a glorious knight from Mendev. It is the embodiment of a promise made to a young girl by a powerful deity. A great promise that has changed much in this world. When you touch the restored relic, a strange vision comes to you. It's as if you can see the events that happened to it in the past. A burning sensation spreads across your chest, from the very spot where your mysterious wound sometimes opens. What is this? The influence of the storyteller's spells? Or is it something else? I saw something. The old elf frowns. How strange. You are a remarkable mortal. No one has ever shared my visions before. But why me? Why do you think this is happening? Perhaps these things have something to do with your destiny, or the fate of someone related to you. I do not have an answer, only advice. Seek out such relics. Look for what links them all, and you will know the truth. Well, that's pretty vague, but at least it does give us an idea of where to start looking for more clues. Each relic we give to the storyteller will have its full backstory printed in the description. So we'll just take a look at those as we find them, see if we can start discovering some sort of recurring themes or or common threads. That might help us deduce what's really going on here. In fact, let's have a quick look at the one he just built for us. The Covenant of the Inheritor. Oof, okay. Well, we've got like a solid 3 pages of narrative here, so I think we'll actually hold off on that. We've already spent enough time on the Storyteller today. I'll set that aside for the next Reader episode. We've already got 2 other things for that, so it shouldn't be too long before we touch on it. For now, though, we'll just focus on what it does. The symbol of Iomedae, when placed on the belt, emits a holy aura. All party members in 30 feet get a +2 bonus to caster level checks, made to overcome spell resistance, not bad. And their weapons become good aligned and count as if they were made of cold iron. Okay. So that is pretty fantastic. I mean, our animal companions can already ignore damage resistance at this point, but that'll be very handy for pretty much everyone else in the party. In fact, now that I think of it, that might not be the best fit for Vex. I might toss that to Ember or Lan. Maybe Daeran. Vex tends to move around a lot, and that thing's got a short range, so putting it on a backliner would make it more consistently useful for the bulk of the party. At any rate, I think that's just about everything we had to do out here, so let's go have a chat with the Queen. Get the ball rolling on this whole Fifth Crusade. Well, I'll be right with you guys. Let me just take a moment to loot my own tent. I'm just doing my part to help organize our camp. I'm collecting all the stray, random items and turning them in at the quartermaster for a small finder's fee. That way they can be efficiently redistributed to where they are needed. Oh, good. And there's my stash. So now I can actually do some proper inventory management. It's good to meet you, Commander. Happy to help the cause, Commander. My respects, Commander. I hope you will be able to spare me some time after the formalities. The Queen greets you with a stare. She has dropped the pompous air with which she just announced the Fifth Crusade. The face of the ruler of Mendev appears calm and thoughtful. She has made her move, and now awaits her opponent's reply. Is that me?
Commander, I'm satisfied with the troop review, but I do not expect they will be sufficient for the task. You will have to prove yourself a shrewd leader and hire the necessary troops with the provided funds.
She quickly gets to the point.
I have chosen a target for your campaign, and that target is Dresden, our lost outpost within the Worldwound. The Sword of Valor was kept there, a banner that was once carried by Iomedae herself. Our greatest relic was lost when the city fell. I should make one thing clear from the start. The Sword of Valor is no mere symbol, but a powerful weapon against demons. The holiness of the banner weakens them and robs them of one of their most dangerous abilities, teleportation. A forced march to Dresden awaits you. The Sword of Valor is kept somewhere within the Citadel. The demons probably think it's a hunting trophy. Its recovery is just as important as retaking the city itself. I hope the task is clear. I'm sending 2 specialists to help you, along with the soldiers. A historian, Nura Denduar, and a cleric, Soziel Danik.
The Queen nods to the human man and the young halfling woman standing next to her. Well, not exactly next to her, but, you know, spatial awareness is complicated.
One of the famous inquisitors of the Church of Iomedae also wants to talk to you. The Honorable Leota, whom everyone calls Hawkblade.
I do not wish to keep you, Commander. The matter I must discuss with you is extremely important, but it is not directly related to the Crusade. You no doubt wish to meet your new comrades and speak with Her Majesty. Therefore, I shall leave you now, but I ask that you seek me out in the camp at your earliest convenience.
Hi! Listen, it's amazing here. It's like I'm in a ballad. There's knights in shining armor, deadly dangers, glorious feats. We are going to show those demons! I'm so tired of sitting in a library reading books about history. It's time I took part in it!
I'm glad to help our cause, Commander. If you have some time later, I'd like to speak with you further.
You'll have plenty of time to talk. You're the Knight Commander's people now, his trusted advisors and companions. Now then, will you please leave us? Irabeth, you can go too.
Man, I've got to say, Galfrey, when we first ran into each other at that tavern, I never would have imagined you'd end up giving me my own army. This is pretty wild.
Some actions may be deemed bold or even extreme, and beyond those, there are some you might call the Queen's last resort. I am not a simple monarch. I am at war with the Abyss, a war which has lasted over 100 years. I cannot allow myself the luxury of caution. In you, I see a chance, and I am willing to stake everything on it. However, you cannot blame me for putting you in charge of the Crusade. I only formalized what had already happened in the hearts and minds of many. People spoke of the power that descended upon you and helped you save the Wardstones from corruption and total destruction. Word of this feat quickly spread far beyond the borders of Mendev. There was no other person who could better fit the role of Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade.
Yeah, I am pretty fantastic, and I do fully deserve all of the authority you have vested in me, but I do have some questions about retaking Dresden.
Of course. I shall answer.
Well, first of all, how'd the demons take it over in the first place? I mean, I've heard the broad strokes, but I'd like to hear your take on it.
That's a good question. Its walls were built by dwarf craftsmen, and the power of the Sword of Valor protected the city. Alas, where raging hordes failed, a single lying tongue was all they needed to succeed. The demoness Minago convinced a young and ambitious crusader named Staunton Vane that the banner belonged on the battlefield. He went on a daring and unapproved raid, and the banner ended up in the enemy's hands. The city fell soon after. Ever since then, for 7 decades, it has served as a citadel for the forces of the Abyss.
Yeah, funny you should mention Staunton. You know, I was just getting buddy-buddy with him when he stuck a knife in my back. Decided to butt in just as we were about to take down Minago. Saved her life and betrayed us all. I guess he's got a type.
Oh, really? I wasn't informed of this. After Dresden fell because of Staunton, he was nearly sentenced to death. He deserved it. In wartime, men are hanged for far less. But you have no idea what a terrible sight it is. A raging crowd of crusaders baying for blood. Never have my fighters looked so much like the demons we are fighting.
Galfrey frowns.
I commuted Staunton's sentence and stripped him of his rank. Not just for him, but for my army and my country. We are not Hell Knights. We do not maintain discipline with public executions.
Well, as much as I do actually like Staunton, I guess we've got to go vengeful on this one. We are a worshipper of Calistria, after all, and he did betray us. I'm just surprised no one ever tried to settle things unofficially, you know, like off the books.
Not in my army. I know all too well that the armies of some kingdoms tolerate humiliation, beatings, and even murder. Their commanders imagine it brings their soldiers together and enforces discipline. Anyone who tries to introduce such rules in Mendev will face a tribunal, along with anyone who tries to shield them, even upper command.
The Queen's voice is like steel. Duly noted. So, what kind of resources do I have at my disposal?
everyone we saw today at the parade. First among them, the Eagle Watch, who remain a powerful force thanks to Irabeth's resourcefulness. Also marching with you are several minor knightly orders, as the minor volunteer units like to be called. And finally, I have personally selected some recruits from Neurosian. They have little in the way of battle experience, but great determination and a thirst to prove themselves. I've always thought that an army benefits from at least one such unit. These forces, as I said, are not enough for a march on Dresden. You will have to hire additional troops with the funds that have been provided to you. But for a brave commander, and I hope you are one, that is just the beginning. If you retake Dresden, recover the holy power of the Sword of Valor, and gain a foothold in the region, then new armies will join under your banner. The Fifth Crusade is only beginning. Many battles and victories lie ahead.
You know, it has been like 3 Crusades since you guys lost Dresden. Why exactly do you think I can take it back?
We have a chance now that we haven't seen in decades. But it's more than that. You created this chance for us by foiling the demon's plans in Canabris. The army who attacked the city came straight from Dresden. Demon hordes from the Abyss are usually encamped there, but many of them perished on the streets of Canabris. We must attack swiftly, before they can restore their forces. When the city is free and the Sword of Valor appears before our soldiers, they won't be sending in any more reinforcements. Demons cannot teleport into an area protected by the banner of the goddess.
Okay, so let's say I do retake Dresden. Then what? What exactly is our long-term goal here? I don't just sit there, right?
Now you are talking like a real knight commander. However, answering your question is not easy. To win this war, we must bar the demon's way. There are a few planar rifts leading to the Abyss across the territory we call the Worldwound. The best specialists we could find have tried to close them on separate occasions, with no success, as you may have guessed.
The Queen frowns, but nods in approval.
The Worldwound is more than just a chain of portals to the Abyss. We do not understand its nature yet. The methods of rift closure known to magical science simply do not work here. However, we have a hypothesis, and a rather well-grounded one, that we must begin at the source of the problem, the place where the Worldwound was opened. The main rift lies through the city of Iz and the Threshold Fortress, deep in the former lands of Socorus. We have never managed to fight our way so far and gain a foothold to allow the mages to explore the origins of the Worldwound. So, the next step, after you succeed in Dresden, is an offensive push deeper into the Worldwound, with the aim of reaching Threshold, the very threshold of the Abyss.
So it is Iz. I could have sworn someone else pronounced it Eyes. Yeah, okay, I think that's all my questions, thanks.
Wonderful.
So, how about those wardstones? Did you know they were powered by trapped angels? That's pretty wacky.
I had guessed as much. Many angels fought alongside us in the First Crusade. Heaven was unable to mobilize its full might to aid us, but individual celestials volunteered to fight for our cause. Then one day, they all vanished, saying that they were setting off on an important mission. Not long after, Iomede's herald erected the first wardstone in Canobris, and then the others in cities across Mendev. Even back then, I had nagging doubts, but my faith in Iomede easily assuaged them. It is for us to serve the goddess after all, not to question her works.
A furrow forms on the Queen's brow. Yeah, why ask questions?
Nevertheless, I am pleased that you solved the mystery of the wardstone in Canobris and were able to save this gift of Iomede. It was a deed worthy of a knight commander of the Fifth Crusade.
The Queen suddenly inclines her head in solemn acknowledgement of your service. Well, for what it's worth, they didn't all end up trapped in those things. I did meet one who died in the tunnels below Canabras. Larry, good guy. We had a real connection. He gave me a sword.
Lariel. I knew him. He disappeared shortly before the Worldwound grew, and Dresden fell into the enemy's hands. In the chaos, we had more important concerns than investigating the fate of a single angel, even one so righteous and beloved as Lariel. And afterward, matters took a turn for the worse. The angels left us to go on their special mission. It is so strange to hear the names I used to hear when I was young, like getting a message from the past. It is sad news, but it brings me back to the times when we strongly believed in our victory, and we rushed headlong toward it without fear. Could it be that such times have come again?
A smile, kind and sad, crosses the Queen's face. I also came across this in Canabras.
Get this. I thought this relic was destroyed many years ago. How strange it is to see it whole again. At one time, it gave me hope. I am pleased that this object will serve the Crusade once more.
The Queen's eyebrows are raised in surprise. Queen Galfrey's hand twitches, as if trying to reach for the relic of its own accord, but the Queen stills its movement. You know, I had a vision when I found this thing, of Iomedae giving this to you herself. Did that really happen?
I was young, and did not fully understand the magnitude of the duty that had been entrusted to me. Iomedae gave me hope and strength to see me through the trials ahead, and in so doing, she won my everlasting loyalty.
The Queen's lips flatten into a hard line. Right. I saw that in my vision, and you swore an oath to her, too. Do you remember that?
Always. No matter how arduous, no matter how dark the skies, no matter how much blood flows from my wounds, I shall stand with you. We shall fight for our loved ones and our friends, for the right to live and die free. We shall do everything we possibly can, and after that, we shall begin to do the impossible. And if the hour should come when our arms can no longer raise our swords, our bodies will become a shield to cover those who still have strength to fight. I, Galfrey, Queen of Mendev, swear this to you. This is my vow.
Good stuff. And you even survived a direct attack from Arilu Vorlesh yourself. Man, we've both been through some crazy stuff, haven't we?
I would proudly declare that to be true, and say that even Arilu Vorlesh could not kill me on her first attempt. But to do so would be boasting. I was protected by my goddess. However, I was glad to see that, no matter how great the betrayer of humanity's power, it is nothing as compared to Iomedae's might.
Yeah, that is certainly one way to look at it. Not the way I'd look at it, but you do you. Also, we are definitely not giving this thing back to her. It's way too useful. So, Your Majesty, I hope you don't mind if we hold on to this bauble for a while. You know, as the commander of the Fifth Crusade, I'm sure we'll put it to good use.
Then so you shall. What matters is that the covenant of the Inheritor has been recovered. Perhaps it should be in your hands now, because you have greater need of it. But should you ever feel that you no longer need this relic, I ask that you give it to me. I would be delighted to touch it again.
If your personal sentimentality ever outweighs the good of the entire crusade, I will certainly consider that. So, where are you off to next?
Overlooking a spot of insubordination just at the moment. However, I shall answer you. I shall prepare the defenses at Nerosian and all the other border cities and plan the future of the Fifth Crusade. Does that satisfy your curiosity, Knight Commander?
Galfrey arches her brow. Yeah, I guess that's an acceptable response. I mean, it's certainly not the same as toughing it out in the trenches, slaughtering demons, retaking Dresden, you know, the actual hero stuff, but we're all helping in our own way. It's not bad for an aristocratic quill pusher. Anyway, I certainly don't see any reason for you to waste more time here, Your Majesty. You have a nice trip back to Nerosian. I'm sure we'll get along just fine without you.
Of course.
I mean, obviously there would be benefits to keeping her around, but we just really don't need her looking over Vex's shoulder. I think we're good.
Splendid. Ah, yes. We have one final matter to attend to. It should be rather enjoyable.
The Queen gives you an impish wink.
Count, there you are. You received my instruction?
I did, though I did not have time to read the thing before I was dragged before your majesty. In truth, I was readying myself to depart.
No matter. I trust you will forgive your sovereign for the rather brusque summons, especially when you learn what prompted it. As you are aware, he has recently been appointed my Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade. I spent a long while pondering whom to appoint to the highly sensitive post of Commander's Field Attaché and Advisor Plenipotentiary without portfolio. Congratulations, Count.
The Queen makes a stately gesture in your direction.
It is a great honor, I suppose.
Daeran's cool expression wavers, but he seems not to be fully cognizant of what is happening. That, or he is holding himself tightly in check. Well, I, for one, think that is a fantastic idea, Your Majesty. Daeran and I were just talking about how it was such a shame we were going our separate ways. But now he's got this steaming pile of opportunity just falling in his lap.
I knew you would approve, Commander.
The Queen bestows a smile on you, then brings her gaze to rest on Daeran once more.
I had my doubts about whether you were ready for such a responsibility, Count, but your conduct in Kenobris has put my mind at ease. So, you will travel with the troops to Dresden. Only the commander may remove you from your post, but I trust that you will dutifully fulfill his orders and make a good showing of yourself. Especially since word of your appointment, Count, will reach the court at any moment. All of Mendev's nobility will be following your successes in service to the nation, including all of your devoted admirers. I even heard that one bard with whom you are particularly friendly has already begun composing a ballad to honor your heroic participation in the Crusade and your faithful service to the commander here.
Your largesse truly knows no bounds, dear cousin. I am most gratified by the honor you have shown me.
The Count offers a bow, either as a sign of respect, or in order to hide his flushed face. Only the barest quaver can be heard in his voice.
Then let's get going. May Iomedae help us.
Yes, that does seem a fitting epitaph for the Fifth Crusade. Hey, Nevia. I think we've got time for a couple more. Nevia sweeps an inquisitive glance over you. So tell me straight, how'd that brawl at the Great Garrison end? I heard the rumors, of course. That's kind of my job, you know. To listen. You've no idea what cobblers the Crusaders say about you. Some say that Iomedae came to you and appointed you her herald. Others say that you died, and an honest-to-God's angel is now leading the army disguised as you. Still others say it was just an explosion at an alchemist's lab, and I'm the one spreading rumors about your powers. I wish. But you know, you really have changed since the Great Garrison. It's hard to describe, but you've become kinda... Nevia waves her hand, trying to find the word. Let me guess. More dangerous? Yeah, exactly. more dangerous. I have a gut instinct about these things. If I didn't, I'd already be dead. You're dangerous, Commander. And by Desna, I hope you'll be dangerous to our enemies and not to us. Or to yourself. Yeah, well, I can't make any promises. I don't even know how this stuff works myself. Now, obviously, we still need to chat with Anevia about her backstory, but we'll hold off on that for now. Instead, let's use the rest of our time today to go have a quick chat with Woljif, and maybe Horgus if we've got time for it. That's all stuff we need to get done before we officially resume adventuring. Oh, hey. Okay, I guess we'll do this too. Damn it, you again, soldier. Bye. The bearded quartermaster gives you a friendly nod. What can I do for you? Well, sir, what can you tell me about the woman who just exploded in front of us? I don't know, Commander. She never introduced herself, but I bet she's not part of our army. I know all of our soldiers by name and sight. Wiltshire frowns gloomily, his cordiality gone in an instant. She was looking for some elf volunteer, wanted to know which tent he was sleeping in. At first I thought she was a messenger for Mendev. She definitely wasn't one of us. But now I see how it all looks mighty shifty. The quartermaster eyes you with concern. She was some sort of spy then? Maybe. I mean, she recognized us, and she referred to us as soldier, so that pretty clearly marks her as Kaylessa, the mysterious dark elf we encountered back in the marketplace. Which means the elf she's looking for is Forn, who must be lurking around here somewhere too. We never did resolve that back in the beta series. Woljif? Woljif gives you a friendly wave. Hey, Chief, want to talk? So what do you make of my fantastical new powers? Woljif pauses to think, rubbing his chin. You mean what you did back there? I have a few ideas. We could send you to a Patak's underground arena to fight. Give you a scary name like Swift Sting or something like that. Give you a great cover story. Enemies burn down your house. You're avenging your dead family. The public eats that stuff up. You'll wear a shiny, eye-catching outfit, or a black one if you like black better. We'll split the prize money 60-40. 60 for me, of course. You know, arranging fights isn't easy. These people are tough. I'll be taking more risk than you. And after we get set up in Patak's, we'll tour different cities, make some real money. What, you don't like the sound of it? Actually, I'm fairly certain that Vex and Kaz would be completely down for that. Except for maybe the 60-40 part. That might need some renegotiation. What else you got? Woljif grins, his yellow eyes lighting up. I got one more. Have you heard of Razmiran? It's some land in the River Kingdoms ruled by a King Razmir. A friend of mine used to live in Razmiran. He got out of there as fast as he could. Long story short, this King Razmir of theirs is a god. He keeps his people under his heel. They're all terrified of what he might do. He sits on his throne wearing some white mask, giving power to anyone. Come and take power from me, he says, so long as you believe in me. Woljif quickly checks that no one is eavesdropping. But that friend of mine, the one who fled, has a half-sister on his old man's side who's a cook in the castle, and a washerwoman who the cook plays cards with in the evenings. Told her a juicy rumor. Word is, Razmir isn't a real god at all, and he's got no powers. So here's my point. You do have powers. Pretty scary ones, too. We'll find some shabby little kingdom. I'll start some rumors, you'll show off a few tricks to wow the locals, and that's it. We'll make you a deity. But first, I want you to put it in writing that I'll be your chief advisor. I'm not doing anything just on the nod. I've been there. People promise you mountains of gold, and then when it comes to it, they're all, get lost, or I'll set the dogs on you. So, do you like the idea? Well, I certainly don't see why not. But, we've got this whole Crusade nonsense to take care of, and that might take a minute. But we'll start on your thing as soon as we're done. Assuming we're both still alive. Woljif rubs his hands, pleased. I am going to make you such a legend. You'll love it. A survivor in Canabris becomes a god. We'll make you a cult that'll put Iomedes to shame. In the meantime, you can think about what you want on your coins. And my insurance, don't forget to write the declaration, making me your chief advisor. Woljif, such a scoundrel. I suppose that wasn't strictly necessary. I was just here to make sure we had access to his thiefling market again, so I can do the off-screen bookkeeping. But I'm not going to miss a chance to chat up my favorite tiefling. Okay, we're almost at time, but let's run slightly long and do one more. If we're going adventuring next time, then we definitely want to talk to Horgus first. So let's go ahead and knock that out now. Horgus Squirm has been expecting you, thumb stuck in his belt. There you are. I've been waiting. As you see, I too have joined the Crusade. I don't know how to swing the sword, but war is costly, and I have money. Besides, my intellect and business sense may prove useful, even on the battlefield. Besides, I believe... Horgus shifts awkwardly from foot to foot. I believe I owe you an apology. The way I behaved was rude, ill-mannered. You are an honest and honorable person. Really? Oh, Horgus, you do not know us at all. You have clawed your way up from the bottom of society to the title of Knight Commander, and you are friends with Queen Galfrey herself. Such persistence deserves respect. Horgus tilts his head in a brief acknowledgement of your merits. Please, allow me to give you this magic amulet from my humble personal treasury, to mark our future cooperation. Why, thank you, Horgus. Despite your abrasive mannerisms, you really do know how to stay on my good side. So, why the sudden change of heart? Why are you pouring all this money into the Crusade all of a sudden? With all due respect, that's none of your business. I have my reasons. Perhaps I felt a rush of patriotism after Canabris was destroyed. Anyway, why would you think I never supported the Crusaders? Perhaps I simply don't like to brag about my donations? Ostentatious charity only attracts beggars. I'd wager that Irabeth has no idea whose money she's spending on drinks and supplies. Fair enough. Hey, Horgus. You and Daeran run in the same circles, right? Canabresian nobility and all? What can you tell me about him? He's a brilliant young man with a brilliant pedigree, and that story of his. The nobility is the glue that keeps our society together. I suppose that is why demons so often choose their estates as primary targets. Who would notice the demons' bloody massacres if they only slaughtered poor country folk? The Arende family shared the tragic plight of the Gwyrms. Along with many other members of the nobility, they fell victim to a treacherous attack during a major celebration taking place at their family estate. I hadn't received an invitation and was slightly insulted by the snub, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. The gods saved me from a terrible fate. All the guests died that day from a magical demonic disease. I sympathize with the Count deeply. He has endured so much, and it's no wonder he keeps himself aloof from me. I think this is due to the fact that Horgus Squirm's fate so resembles his own. And we both have to relive those horrible memories whenever we see each other. Daeran did show one of his rare moments of genuine, or seemingly genuine, sympathy during Horgus's reveal. Not to mention, of course, that despite knowing Horgus's secret, Daeran hasn't tried to use that against him in some way. That alone does speak volumes, considering Daeran's often vindictive nature. More importantly, I suppose that nets us another nice piece of gear. Something which we will immediately slap on Ember. And it sets the stage for our return to the field. There are, of course, other things around the camp we still have to take care of. A lot of them, in fact, but we'll start interspersing them with actual adventuring, too. I would like to get in at least one fight per episode. Anyway, that said, let's hit the pause button for now. I will do a quick lap around the camp, grab all the new loot that just appeared, and take care of the rest of our off-screen bookkeeping. I still need to grab that red salamander ring. I just needed access to our stash and Woljif's thiefling market. And we will pick up here next time, as we catch up with Seela and take care of her thing. It's about time we got to know her a little better anyway. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official social media feeds, or the official store pages. And if you'd like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Or maybe even check out the Patreon. Links are in the description.
It's time I took part in it!